The details on these Vision Line big boys are absolutely amazing. I especially enjoy the gloss finish on the Restoration series. They did such a great job with the paint, attention to detail, and separately applied details. It's really just a joy to sit and look at these models. Then you get to the cab, and they just knocked it out of the park. Getting this much detail in one photo was quite the challenge, but it was well worth the effort. There's just this issue that seems to plague this particular release. The power wire on the right side of the motor seems to have not been soldered on a large number of these, at least according to the amount of complaints in the forums. Mine had this issue as well, but it was repaired before I took delivery. It's a pretty easy fix, or you can just send it off to Lionel for free repair after paying shipping. Alright, I just wanted to break in here real quick and mention that I have an upcoming free Vision Line giveaway that's available only to subscribers. That's right, completely free, including shipping. While it's a Vision Line item, it's not a big boy. I need my channel to grow a little bit more before I can make that happen. And sadly, it's for US residents only. More info to come on my next video, which will consist of several different Vision Line items. So be sure to smash that subscribe button so you can enter to win. Okay, wait. I know we both added fluid to each smoke unit before even turning this engine on for the first time. Why does it smell like the house is burning down when the pop-off smoke engages? This should not be happening in the first hour of use on a $3,000, nearly $3,000 model. It already had the motor wire that was not connected out of the box, so let's take a look. Okay, this isn't getting any better. These wires look like this thing was just thrown together by the cheapest labor they could find. And just as I thought, the wicking material is all burnt. It's saturated, but it's still scorched on every unit except for the blowdown smoke. That one actually looks good. So the unit you were just looking at was swapped out because there was just so much wrong with it. Between the damaged wires, the smoke units that were all burning up, even after just the first use. So I got another one. I've filled up all the smoke units with smoke fluid, let it sit in for 15 minutes, toss it on the track, and let's see what we got. This would be the second one in 1 week. Except this one has operating smoke units. But when you try to make it go forward, looks like the wire came off this motor too. Okay, so after having two of these Vision Line big boys open up within 1 week, I'm going to cover a few very important details that you should all consider for the safe operation of these models for years to come. I was able to resolve the issue with the smoke unit in mind and discovered a few other interesting details that you're going to want to pay attention to. I will touch on each one of these in the video as I do my overview here from front to back. So here we are at Berwyn Toys and Trains for the big day to pick up my long-awaited 4014. This is a fantastic store, and the customer service here is top-notch, with a touch of very enjoyable banter. They do go through great lengths to ensure the product you receive is in perfect working order, regardless of the fact that they don't make any of it.
So it's something that's having an effect on the circuit because the engine can still recognize the motion. It's just that it stops moving. So it could just be because the electric wall with their engine. And it's not because of you, it's doing a sign flaw or...
So today's the day to pick up my big Vision Line big boy from Berwyn's Toys and Trains, and this guy, who's opening another package for me, decided to have a few other things delivered. It's quite the surprise every time I walk in.
Me too!
I think sometimes I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. As we're sitting here going through placing orders for all of the World War II cars and more. And this is exactly how this happens. So Tim was over here unboxing these cars, thinking that I would be interested in them, and as usual, I'm going to be leaving it with them. they're going to match the big boy very well. So look forward to this unboxing coming up shortly after the big boy. Hopefully I can get out of here without him putting anything else in my pocket or in my stack. The Union Pacific Big Boy is a type of simple, articulated 4884 steam locomotive manufactured by the American Locomotive Company, ALCO. 20 of these locomotives were made in 1941, which are numbered 4000 through 4019. An additional 5 were made in 1944 during the height of World War II, numbered 4020 through 4024. All 25 Big Boys were operated by the Union Pacific and Revenue Service until 1962. In 1936, the Union Pacific introduced the 4664 Challenger locomotive on its main line over the Wasatch Grade between Green River, Wyoming, and Ogden, Utah. The climb over the Wasatch Range reached a grade of 1.14%. Hauling a 3,600-ton freight train demanded double heading and helper operations, which dramatically slowed service. So the Union Pacific decided to design a new locomotive that can handle the run by itself. Faster and more powerful than the compound 2880s that the Union Pacific tried after World War I, and able to pull long trains at sustained speeds of 60 miles per hour once past those mountain grades like the Challenger. A Union Pacific design team led by Otto Jabelman worked with ALCO to re-examine these Challenger locomotives. The team found that the railroad's goals could be achieved by enlarging the Challenger's firebox from 12 square meters to 14 square meters, increasing the boiler pressure from 280 psi to 300, adding 4 drive wheels, and reducing the size of the drive wheels from 69 inches to 68. These 25 Big Boys were built to haul freight by themselves over the Wasatch Range between Ogden, Utah, and Green River, Wyoming, with its first units being 100 Pacific Fruit Express reefers. Because of this, Wasatch was intended to be the original name of the Big Boy, but as the story goes, one of the ALCO workers performing final assembly on the initial unit used chalk to write Big Boy on the front of the boiler. This name caught on instantly, and in the end, Big Boy became the name of these newly built massive locomotives instead of Wasatch. They were the only locomotives to use the 4884 wheel arrangement, with a 4-wheel leading truck for stability entering curves, 2 sets of 8 driving wheels, and a 4-wheel trailing truck to support the large firebox. The final weight was 1.2 million pounds at a length of 132 feet long, costing $265,000 or $4.6 million in today's cash. Today, 8 Big Boys survive, with most on static display at museums across the United States. One of them, this one, number 4014, was reacquired by the Union Pacific, and between 2014 and 2019 was rebuilt to operational condition for the 150th anniversary of the first transcontinental railroad. It thus regained the title of the largest, most powerful operating steam locomotive in the world. Currently, 4004 resides at Holiday Park in Cheyenne, Wyoming. 4005 is at Forney Museum in Denver. 4012 is at the Steamtown National Historic Site in Scranton, Pennsylvania. 4017 at the National Railroad Museum, Green Bay, Wisconsin. And 4018 is at the Museum of American Railroad in Frisco, Texas. All right, as we weigh out the tender here, 5.2 ounces, and notice that it's about a pound, almost a pound heavier than the coal burning ones, or at least compared to Eric's trains. I don't have one, but his tender was 4.4 ounces, and mine is 5.24, and then the engines are pretty much about the same, so no difference in paint there. But yeah, the tenders are, comparing to Eric's trains, mine's almost a whole pound heavier, which is not a surprise since the top is all die cast, but it is pretty impressive. All right, as we get started here, I'm going to use my Mickey hand to open up the hidden coupler here. It's a scale coupler. You can put on an O-gauge coupler if you want to double head these for whatever reason. Behind that, you have a coupler cut bar. very nicely detailed. Behind that, you have some grab irons and then the cover over the compressor. You got a 4014 number plate. Behind that, you have some cooling units. You have more number boards and a headlight. More grab irons behind the headlight. And then we have the compressor here where we're going to take another look here on the side. Yeah, there's the dual compressor there. Behind that, you have your drive cylinders, which are pretty massive. I've stood next to them and they were taller than me. You have your safety tread above that, which is very nicely detailed. On the opposite side of the engine, you have some very nice builder plates. You have a step here. You have your twin smokestacks, and we'll go in depth with the smoke unit. You have some separately applied valves and whistle there, which we will look at further in a second. As we open up the boiler hatch, this is pretty detailed on the inside there. It's not just wires as you normally see. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty impressed with this. I was able to come up with a photo that I'll show here, and it really does show the attention to detail on this Vision Line engine, and I'm really happy with that. This is from 1940s, and it's pretty impressive. So go ahead and close the boiler there where we have the big boy chalked on there and a separately applied grab iron, a nice detailed bell, illuminated number boards, and classification lights. All right, when we go to the above here, you have your twin smokestacks, which you can put smoke in either one of them. You have your whistle here for the whistle steam smoke effect. I personally do put fluid down here, and I'll show you why in a few seconds. You have a nice sand dome here. And then when we go to the smokestack, so here is the actual twin smoke unit. So the small hole on the back there is where this whistle steam is at, and that feeds the right side of the smoke unit. The twin smokestacks up front feed the left side of this smoke unit. So it's very important to, and this is the overhead version of the same thing. So if you look here, there are 2 holes in the front, 2 holes in the back. So the front being the left side. So the left side holes, the larger ones, you can see the heating elements there that has the lines on it, and then that little red thermistor. So I noticed that the thermistor on some of these units is pressed out very, very far. So on the smoke units up front for this dual smoke unit, it's absolutely massive. It wasn't that much of an issue here as it is on the blow-off steam. So the 2 holes in the back, that's where the fan brings the air in and blows it out the smokestack. But I noticed the bottom unit where you see some of that glue around the hole is where that's where the smoke enters when you put it through the smokestacks. Either smokestack is going to have the smoke go through that bottom left hole, and then the smoke has to completely saturate the wicking. Then it has to go through about a 3/16 inch wide wicking material underneath a metal divider. Once it goes under that divider, then it can start filling the whistle steam side. So that can take quite a bit of time because you have to saturate the wicking on the smokestack before it goes to the whistle steam side, and that smokestack side holds about 120 drops of smoke before that wicking material was saturated. While I had this open, I just kept filling it with smoke fluid to see how much it takes. If you put 20 drops in there, then it's going to burn the elements. So it may not do it right away, but I saw it happen on one of these, and then on the second unit, as I had it open up again, it was going to burn it again. So it does take time for the smoke to wick from the smokestack over to the whistle steam side, unless you put with a needlepoint dropper, unless you put smoke through the whistle steam. Again, this is my own personal experience. You can choose to do what you wish at your own risk, but that worked for me. And I just wish they wouldn't say put only 20 drops in the smokestack side. Again, my best results were to put more than 20 drops in the smokestack, let it soak in, and pour smoke slowly down the whistle steam side and allow that to absorb. One last detail that I happened to come across in doing some research online is one that seems to go unnoticed quite often. So if you look really closely right in front of the finger here, there's a hinge here, a left one and a right one, And then all the way in the front, there's a left one and a right one here. And there's a little piece of plastic that protrudes on the left, or on the right, and then the left. So these are actually hoods that come up and deploy. So this one from the engineer side to deflect the smoke to the fireman side, and then vice versa. This one deploys on the engineer side, or the fireman side, to push smoke the other direction. So this completely eliminates any possibility of a need for the big elephant ears that were on the Challenger. They did try them once on the big boy, but then quickly realized with the amount of pressure that comes out of the stacks to blow the smoke really high, and these hoods, there's absolutely no reason for it because the big boy was just designed to allow for visibility. So kudos to Lionel for their attention to detail on this one. This is one that's pretty easy to go unnoticed, and honestly, if they didn't put it there, the vast majority of people, I think, in my personal opinion, would not even notice that it was missing. But now, having seen the photo of one of the original big boys having the hood deployed, I really appreciate that. I think it's kind of cool that they did that. All right, we're going to continue here on the fireman's side. We have a cast-in step. We have separately applied signage here. We have additional piping, separately applied piping, and then the big steam tube. We have beautiful running gear. I went for the restoration series, so the running gear is all polished. With the next to these 68-inch wheels, there's the big steam tube. That does articulate, by the way, and I'll show that later. So we have the second series of drive cylinders and additional running gear for the rear 8 drive wheels. Then we have the large firebox that has the ash pan glow effect. All right, under this rear sand dome, we have our 2 fill ports. This is for the pop-off smoke. This is for the blowdown smoke. We also have our run program switch, Bluetooth on and off, main smoke switch on and off, whistle steam smoke effect switch on and off, pop-off smoke on and off, and then the blowdown switch on and off. All right, as we continue back from the front sand dome, we have the steam dome, the safety steam with the safety steam smoke effect. We have a separately applied valve, and then the rear sand dome. This brings us to the smoke unit for the safety steam smoke effect. You can see the fan underneath my thumb there, and then to the right of that, the wicking material that is completely saturated here. And the element above that, silver element that has lines on it, and then to the right of that element, there's that red thermal unit. And this particular unit, I noticed that right away out of the box after saturating the wicking material, I noticed right away that I started getting a burning smell after the second time that the safety steam operated. So I was very curious. I opened it up. I could see that there was a little bit of discoloration, but the gap in between the sensor and the thermal unit was very, very large. It was well over 1/4 of an inch. And if you look at the PC board here, where the wire is attached to the board, that's by my index finger there, it says R2. There's a diagram there on the board. And then there's one underneath the heating element too. So I moved the 2 units to where they were directly over that imprint. And then I reinstalled it. Once I did that, the safety steam smoke effect started working flawlessly. I didn't notice on the previous unit if they were spread apart like that, but it seems like that might be an issue. This is the second time I had a safety steam smoke effect unit start smelling like it was burning right away. And you can clearly see why it smelled like it was burning because, well, it was. The material was burned up pretty bad, even though it received smoke drops several times through that running. So my suggestion is both make sure that your units are topped off, especially the front 3 units, which are quite large. And then if you smell any burning, either send it back to Lionel if you're not comfortable opening it up because it does void your warranty, or if you're comfortable, open it up and make sure those 2 units are spaced far enough apart before you run into any serious issues. Okay, enough with the negativity. Look at the detail on the inside of this cab. It's absolutely amazing. I'm completely impressed with it. And at this point, I really need to call out all the positive details about the work that Lionel has put into this thing. Again, it looks great. I'm not a Lionel hater. There's a few things that I just want people to be aware of that I've experienced a couple times on 2 different models in 1 week. But again, in the end, 99% of everything that I've received on this model are just so beautiful, so well done, and so high quality. I mean, just look at it. It's beautiful. I could look at this for days. All right, let's keep going. As we get to the back of the tender, we have our 3 water hatches that do open. They're separately applied. There's no switches or anything in there, but it is a nice effect that they have on there instead of just being a cast-in detail. They do open and close with the Mickey hand, which is pretty easy. Then we have our separately applied grab irons on both the front and back of the tender. We have the separately applied grab irons while you're coming up off the ladders, and beautiful ladders here. On the front of the tender, we have a whole lot of cast-in details. You have your IR sensor, separately applied ladders. Again, a lot of cast-in details. It's not like the original Vision Line Big Boy where the cold doors opened. On the back of the tender, we have our electrocoupler. We have some printing, some legible printing. We have our classification lights and a backup light. We have detailed riveting, which looks fantastic. Separately applied grab irons that were hard to see on the last image. Lights. As we move to the underside, we have 4 pickup rollers, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 4 traction tires, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 8 wheels without flanges to allow 072 curves and larger. And then we have a total of 8 wheels with flanges. And all 16 wheels are powered. The front does articulate, and the steam pipes do articulate, which is wonderful. It's a great detail. As we get to the bottom of the tender, we have our IR sensor with the accompanying wires. We have 4 articulating wheels, a total of 7 axles. We have 2 pickup rollers, 2 speakers, which is wonderful. They sound amazing. And then you have your IR sensor for your center track. And in the back, we have your electrocoupler. Now we're going to run through the startup sequences, and in the middle, we'll cover the 5 bells and 5 whistles.
My oil's full. Out. My water tank's full. Out.
Make a note for the house. The right injector needs some attention.
Stop table only gives us 10 minutes for this stop. I'll tend the fire. Go top off the tape.
Switchler says we've got 1 off and 3 on at the head end.
4014 to Ogden. Ready to make our pull. Swing permitted to occupy the main. Please hold at your location. Out.
All right, here are the whistles. Whistle number 1. Whistle number 2. Whistle number 3. Whistle number 4. And the last whistle, whistle number 5. And now here are the 5 whistles.
Dispatch, this is UP 4014. Station work complete and ready to head west. Can I pull? You're cleared onto the main. Out. Engine 4014 to the tower. I'm at 4014 out.
Okay, so in the end, what are my thoughts on the 2023 Vision Line Restoration Big Boy? Well, I think it's amazing. I'm happy to have it as the mascot for my channel that's titled Big Boy Trains, which also has a double meaning since I'm a big boy at 6'4". But the attention to detail in this model is just so enjoyable to experience each day. Sure, there are a couple quality control challenges that I wish Lionel would resolve, but I'm grateful that I was able to resolve almost all of them myself. Will I buy another Lionel Vision Line locomotive? Well, yes. I've ordered the Vision Line triplex and I'm hopeful to not face any of these challenges when that one arrives. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for a future Vision Line giveaway on this channel.